this list.
All right, Pete's team.
Pete, this for you, baby.
This for Pete. All right, this one to me, again, I talked about it on the PM's channel, but I'll continue to go over these signings. They signed Richarlison, Basuma, Spence, nice pickup there, Lenglet, Perisic, and then their outs are
basically only Bergwijn.
Bergwijn, really? I mean, Cameron Vickers. Could you say something about him? No.
I think Joe Rodon played a little bit, but I don't think Bergwijn, and even Bergwijn, I don't think played too much for Spurs. Yeah. So,
all right, the Hotspurs obviously had arguably one of the best summer windows in a recent while for them. How are we feeling about the Hotspurs?
I'm gonna let you start on this one. You talk about Pete's team. You let Pete.
All right, Pete. This one's for you. I think that I've talked about it before with PM on the channel. I think that this is probably the summer window, and again, people could say that it's overrated.
Between them and Arsenal.
I think a lot of people could say that it's overrated, but when you can sign some of the players that they have, like Richarlison, I think they're gonna have to. I know I'm curious to see how Conte will figure out how to use him more so because they already have the front three of Son, Mora, and Kane, and just kind of curious to see if they're gonna
Kulusevski
as well. I keep forgetting about him, and how he fits in that system. Basuma, I think, is the most critically big signing of the summer, more so for the price that he went at. And I understand he had the allegations, but he beat the case.
Yep.
For now. But again, Spence as well, Lenglet, Perisic. I mean, this team to me screams that they could potentially be top 4 for sure. I know that there's a lot of people saying that they might be number 2. I'm looking at you, Rory. I think that's a little bit of cap. And I don't think that that's necessarily the right position for them. But nevertheless, they added a lot of players to their team. Conte's only getting stronger. I think that this team is definitely top 4. Are they top 3? I'm not so sure. I still think that the style that Conte plays is not my favorite, and I think it's very negative.
Fair.
And so I think that they'll struggle with goal scoring, but I think they'll definitely do a better job of holding the bigger teams to probably lower, really muck it up games and not, allow the attacking options to happen, which is why I think both Man City and Liverpool kind of went for different style players this off season, more of a target man or number 9, traditional number 9. But I think this definitely has a great team written all over it. Basuma, probably my favorite signing of the bunch. How are you feeling about Spurs? You think it's overrated?
I'm kind of with. I don't know if necessarily you said this as a definitive, but I'm not gonna say it. I think their window is a little bit overrated because I do think Richarlison is a good striker. I don't know if he's 60 million pounds worth. You're gonna get 60 million pounds worth of player out of him in a reserve role, especially with already having Kulusevski as your front 3, and so making that as your front 4, well, obviously there's a lot of talent up there. I'm just not necessarily sure what his role is going to be if Kane is going to be playing every single week. I do like Basuma. I think that him and Højbjerg in a dual midfield pivot, and they rotate with Bentancur. I feel like that's a very strong midfield trio you could have. Jed Spence, he was really good for Middlesbrough last season, but I've seen a couple question marks necessarily about how well he'll adapt and if he'll really come out and be a better option than Emerson Royale, who I don't think Spurs fans necessarily think is the greatest outside right wing back. So we'll see how he does. I think he probably will be an upgrade, but I need to see that stuff before I comment. I think Lenglet is I don't know. I never thought he was super amazing at Barcelona, and so coming in, I think he'll be a little bit more of a reserve rotational option, so that'll be fine, but not necessarily. I don't think he'll do anything to super solidify the defense. I do like signing a Perisic. I think as a left wing back in Conte's system, who I believe he's played under before.
Yeah.
I think he will help that left side. Who's their left back? Sessegnon. Sessegnon or Ben Davies, I think, play there a little bit. So I think they'll definitely improve that side of the field. But I've seen people say that they will finish above Liverpool, and with Liverpool finishing 20 points ahead of Spurs last season, I'm just not sure if this window was good enough
for 20 points
to make up 20 points, even with Liverpool maybe losing a couple off Mane, which is debatable whether you would say Nunez wants to add points. So I'm just not sure if they can break into that top 2, but I think if they don't finish top 4 this season, it would be a kind of a disgrace in my opinion. Although saying that, I will say Conte in the past has not had the best transfer success. With what I've seen from him when he was at Chelsea, Inter, the players that he ends up buying aren't necessarily all hits. So as good of a manager as he is, maybe transfer strategy and negotiations aren't his his forte per se. But I think that if this team doesn't finish top four, it'd be definitely a failure of a season. Maybe not a failure; it's a bit harsh, but I definitely think that would be a letdown of a season for Tottenham.
Yeah, I think it'd be a failure. I know I got to give the same energy. I talk about Chelsea. How I told them they need to. I think I had them finish top two, with the signings that they made, and Spurs is the same way. If they don't, at least are not in the top four, I think it's going to be a really big disappointing season for them. Again, I think all the signings that they made, all the players that they have, this team needs to finish in the top four. And again, they've already tried the kind of rebuild project with Pochettino, and it worked to a point. They obviously got to a Champions League final. I believe they finished over Arsenal 1 year as well, and that's always something that our Spurs fans like to bring up. And so for me, with that being the case, I think this has to be the year where they get top four and at least a little bit further into a Champions. They're in the Champions League, so a little bit further in the Champions League, maybe around a 16 appearance.
Definitely.
So, now let us know in the comments. Excuse me. Let me know in the comment section, or let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of Spurs off season? Are you a big fan of it? And if you're a Spurs fan, do you think that this is going to be the top team of, or at least like above Liverpool in the Premier League?